We're here at Gwendoline's place, and there's quite a lot of activity inside there. Now, for those of you who perhaps weren't with us yesterday, the question we're all asking is, why is she in there? That is an unusual place for an adult hyena to be. In fact, it's very unusual, unless, perhaps, she's in the process of either giving birth, or perhaps she is trying to suckle her youngsters. Now, she's unfortunately very unkindly turned her back to us, but she did have her face pointing towards us. And I'm just staring in there with my binoculars. Now she's disappeared entirely. I mean, that's a massive hole. You still see her, Vim? Not at all. Or very slightly. And I'm just wondering if she hasn't given birth. It would be difficult to understand how it all happened, because as Jamie said, or Jamie found, of course, the youngsters that were here were probably hers from about 8 months ago. Now, the birthing interval of 8 months for a hyena would be very unusual, but it's not impossible. You know, if the clan has been eating a lot up where they've been living, perhaps the youngsters stopped suckling a little bit earlier than they would normally, and maybe she was mated again a little bit early. But this, I mean, she's been in this hole now for what, almost 5 days. Anthony, while we look into that hole there and hope that she'll stick her head up, you're wondering about at what age hyenas will become sexually mature. Anthony, they will become sexually mature at about 18 months, if I'm not mistaken, but it's unlikely the females will mate probably before they're, say, before they're about 2.5 to 3 years old, and the males probably also don't mate until they're at least sort of 5 or 6. So although they're capable of mating, they don't necessarily do it. The female's just too young, probably don't conceive properly, and the males, of course, well, they'll be dominated by other males if they're too young. She might just check that up for you, because I have a suspicion that hyenas are slightly different, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. She's not being particularly entertaining, is she, Vim? Do you think this is the most entertaining hyena sighting you've ever had?
I've had worse.
You've had worse? Speaking of lions, I believe Brent told you that the sticks are on Arathusa and that he's not able to go and see them. I don't blame him. We will pop past there. We're just the other side of Djuma at the moment, and so what we'll do is just let things quieten down in Arathusa a bit. I suspect there are probably lots of people going to see them, and then we'll go across there before the end of the drive and have a look at the Styx Pride and see how their little cubs are doing. But that's all that's going on here, I'm afraid. Not a great deal. Natasha, you were saying that the hyena is breathing very heavily. Yes, she is. I agree. And it's not hot yet. It's not like it's hot in that hole of hers. She looks like she's fast asleep now. And I haven't heard any noise. I've heard no kind of twittering or noise from inside there. So I don't, you know, it's not like I've got any evidence for there being youngsters. Except that yesterday she did make a bit of a sort of grunt into the middle of the den. She was going, oh, oh. Gemma, I'm afraid I've got no idea about your question. You say, does the hyena clan recognize that or notice that Gwen is missing? I don't. Do they realize that she's missing? Yes, I think they probably do. They're very social. They know each other very well. They know each other intimately, and a bit like monkeys or baboons. If one member of the troop is removed, yes, they do notice the absence. Would they then go and look for her? No, absolutely not. It's perfectly normal for a subordinate female to move away from the den. So no, I don't think that she would move. They would necessarily come and look for her or necessarily miss her. All right, we're going to stay here for the next little while, but Brent Leo Smith has managed to find something slightly more, well, obvious than this.